Welcome. Hello, it's Intuitive T. I'm very excited to get tuned into our new moon and Sagittarius reading, the Gypsy Moon. So, So if you do not follow me on or have not clicked my link in my bio, the link in my bio is my link tree that has access to everything. So the website and component of Intuitive Tea has all of my blog posts, and I have been working hard on, I would say definitely this past month, on posting some blog posts. So let me share with you about the new moon in Sagittarius. This is on my blog post. I've had a couple people tune in, so I welcome you. Here we arrive at the new moon in Sagittarius, the Gypsy Moon, a lunation that refuses to be domesticated. This moon does not ask you to perfect the plan. It asks you to move, to roam, to taste life instead of studying it from its margins. Mary Oliver's question echoes as the threshold opens. Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? Sagittarius energy is not interested in safety for safety's sake. It is interested in truth earned through experience. This moon stirs the ache for open roads, new philosophies, and the kind of growth that only can happen when you risk being changed by what you encounter. Under this moon, Jupiter's influence reveals both the blessing and the blind spot. The grace is here. Protection, opportunity, doors opening just in time. Yet there's also a tendency to escape emotional discomfort by staying in motion. Promises feel heavy, commitments feel confining. Emotional claustrophobia can arise when expectations tighten or when staying put threatens your sense of freedom. And yet, as the old wisdom reminds us, a person often meets their destiny on the road they took to avoid it. This moon asks whether your movement is an act of devotion or avoidance addressed as adventure. The Gypsy's moon gently challenges the places where we consume wisdom without embodying it, where we have been reading, researching, imagining, but not living. Where does curiosity fade once something demands consistency? Sagittarius energy thrives on new sights and expanded horizons, but this lunation asks for a deeper honesty. What happens when the thrill wears off, and what remains in its presence? This is a moon of recalibration between freedom and follow-through, between wanderlust and purpose, and between running and responding. As we step into this new cycle, begin noticing your relationship with enough. Observe how you respond when interest wanes or discomfort arises. Pay attention to where you go, physically, emotionally, and spiritually, when you want to escape. The new moon in Sagittarius is not here to trap you. It is here to show you where freedom lives when you stop running from yourself. This is the preview. The journey deepens from here. And then I did a little snippet just based on the energy, what the cards were yapping about, and it was yapping. They were. So we have some things specifically to tune together. So some very specific notes for the new moon in Sagittarius that I want to share with you is that your goal or your job is to come into contact with as many different things as possible. So definitely explore with experience and with adventure during this energy of this moon time. Destination is where you end up, and you want to keep your ability to run. So you want to stay in tune. I would say get into like a gym class, something like that. Jupiter saves you from emotionally uncomfortable situations, struggles to cope with promises, and learn to explore. A person often meets his destiny on the road they took to avoid it. So some journal prompts that I have for you if journaling is your thing and then you want to exit stage left because tarot is not. The first prompt that I have for you is, what is your relationship with enough? Let me read all of them and I'll go back and share because I had a funny that just came out. How do I respond when something no longer interests me? I be forgetting that I be writing this shit that be tearing me up, okay? Where do I go when I want to run? Where is my safe place? And how do I cope and respond to emotionally uncomfortable situations? I'm running to my journal for these because I wasn't ready. That's a lot. The first, to keep it like, comedic healing, and that's the energy service as well offered with intuitive tea, is my relationship with enough. Like, that's the only Jennifer Lopez movie that I really fuck with, but it's also like enough is enough, so I don't as well. So like that's what came to mind when I first said. So tarot components that will have, every reading is going to have a Sagittarius oracle reading. It's written in the language of like for a Sagittarius. I'm gonna share it and pull with the intention that this specific reading is the message from the Sagittarius new moon to that elemental sign. I have the Disney Villains tarot deck I absolutely love, and I have Orion's Animal Tarot deck, which I also love a lot. And I'm gonna use those to read for the 4 elements, 4 questions. 4 elements, 4 questions. So yes, 4 elements, 4 questions. It's kind of going to be annoying, but I think I'm going to shuffle both tarot decks together. That's the first time I've had the inclination to be like, we need them all, because the last one, I think it was maybe it was the new moon, the full moon, excuse me, in Gemini. Maybe it was that one. I don't remember, but I was having so many doubles, like, oh, I'm reading this, and then that card was pulling for the next. Oh, and they're perfectly matched. Let me get this right. I'm gonna get a bigger shuffle in. I think we might have to start doing this often. Yes. We're gonna do 2 piles. Shuffle a pile at a time. I'm gonna practice my double deck shuffle, but it's not ready yet. My single deck shuffle is, however, pretty poppin', so my single deck shuffle is pretty poppin', not gonna lie. So, energetically, I enjoy pulling a reading for myself and then going through. Let's see how that goes. I'm not sure how the cards, the way those journal prompt questions were, I feel like unless I'm like, this has got to be for me, and something pops out, I'm gonna do mine to the person. I got dragged enough in the preview reading that I just posted to my page. If you want to check it out, you are more than welcome to follow me. You're more than welcome to send me a message. Book a personal reading, simple reading. I think, yeah. So again, just to run over the prompts, what is your number? The first journal prompt is, what is your relationship with enough? The second journal prompt is, how do you respond when something no longer interests you? The third is, where do you go when you want to run? Where is your safe place? And the fourth one is, how do you cope or respond to emotionally uncomfortable situations? That double decker. And then we're gonna have, oh my God. We're gonna get it right. So we're gonna start, we have the new moon in Sagittarius. So I feel it's only right to start with fire signs. So the first question is, where have I succumbed to the temptation to just read and not experience? So I have my cheat sheet that I made that gives me just a reminder guide, because tarot can be a little overwhelming, but it's got some messages. So where did the fire sign succumb to the temptation just to read and not experience? So I like to read upright at this moment. In this, we have the Ace of Wands. I'll turn so you can see. We have the Ace of Wands. We have the Hierophant. Where have I succumbed to the temptation to just read and not experience? The Page of Coins, the Ten of Cups, and the Two of Swords. So fire signs, where have we succumb to the temptation to just read and not experience? Fire signs, we're going to go through everything. So again, the cards pulled were the Ace of Wands, the Hierophant, the Page of Coins, the Ten of Cups, and the Two of Swords. So the Ace of Wands has to do with new beginnings. The Hierophant has to do with institutions, traditions, society rules. Page of Coins has to do with commitment to learn. Ten of Cups has to do with emotional bliss. And the Two of Swords has to do with indecision. So I would say again, where have I succumbed to temptation to just read and not experience? So we have Ace of Wands, new beginnings, societal, the commitment to learn your own bliss. I say with this component of partnerships and unions and trios and teams, the two's company, three's a crowd is the energy I'm coming up with. That societal norm, fire signs, plays a part when the getting to know involves more than just you. So if that getting to know you, so where have you succumbed to the temptation to just read and not experience? I would say, again, so we're going to pull up as well a supported interpretation, and they talk about where your spark needs to be, where it has been studied instead of ignited. The Ace of Wands shows inspiration that has already arrived. The desire, idea, the urge to begin is alive and pulsing. Yet rather than acting on it, the initial flame has been paused, contained, or redirected into preparation. The Hierophant suggests you may be seeking permission, validation, or the right way before allowing yourself to move. There is a resilience on teaching, systems, or external authority that has quietly replaced embodied initiation. You know about the path, but you haven't fully stepped onto it. The Page of Coins reveals the remedy, not mastery, not certainty, but beginner devotion. This is where fire is being invited to choose practice over theory, small tangible action over research. Experience over reverence for tradition. Your growth doesn't require you to break from wisdom, but to ground in it. Fire is meant to move and learn through motion. The temptation to keep reading has been a way to stay safe from being seen as inexperienced. Yet this trio reminds you in the wisdom matures through doing. The initiation you're waiting for begins the moment you start. Emotional bliss and your indecisions are your two sides of this aspect. When you just experience, when you read instead of experience. Emotional bliss versus the Two of Cups as well. So this is our first reading. Okay, fire signs. All right, the next question. Where does fire signs struggle with commitment? Where is fire signs struggling with commitment that the Gypsy Moon is letting us know front and center? This is where we are struggling with commitment. The Queen of Swords. The Queen of Swords, communicative yet cold. Where are we struggling with commitment? Communication. I'll own that. I will definitely own that. I'm not going to read from my personal experiences, and I will let the reading do for us. Commitment becomes challenging when the mind leads before the heart has fully consented. The Queen of Swords reveals a pattern of engaging from clarity, logic, and discernment, but also from emotional distance. You may commit intellectually long before you commit emotionally, keeping your heart slightly removed as a form of self-protection. This isn't avoidance born of immaturity. It is a strategy developed through experience, loss, and hard-earned wisdom. The struggle shows up in places where commitment feels like it may require softening your defenses or relinquishing control of the narrative. The Queen of Swords prefers truth over illusion, independence over entanglement, and autonomy over obligation. When commitment threatens to blur boundaries, cloud clarity, or ask you to trust what cannot be proven, the instinct is to stay observational rather than embodied. This card invites you to examine where discernment has quietly turned into detachment and to consider whether deeper commitment might actually sharpen your truth rather than compromise it. Appreciated that. All right, the next question is for fire signs. Where does emotional claustrophobia show up in the fire signs life, the world? Where does emotional claustrophobia show up in the fire element? For the fire element, emotional claustrophobia appears not as a need for completion, movement, and open horizons. For the fire element, emotional claustrophobia appears not as fear, but as a need for completion, movement, and open horizons. The world reveals a deep sensitivity to cycles that feel finished, situations, relationships, or identities that have been already taught you what they can. When something lingers past its season, it can feel suffocating, not because it is bad, but because your spirit is ready to expand beyond it. This card suggests that emotional confinement arises when growth is delayed or when you're asked to stay within structures that no longer reflect your full evolution. Fire needs spaciousness to integrate wisdom through lived experience, not repetition. The world indicates that your claustrophobia is actually a signal of readiness, a call to close chapters consciously rather than linger in them unconsciously. When you honor endings as a sacred completions instead of failures or abandonments, Fire regains its breath and remembers that fulfillment includes both arrival and departure. That's beautiful. And now, new sights and focus for the fire element this new moon in Sagittarius, the Gypsy Moon. All right, we'll take the cards that flipped up. So we have the High Priestess and the King of Swords. New sights and focus. Swords and the High Priestess. The High Priestess and the King of Swords. For the fire element, new sights and focus arrive through the marriage of clarity and intuition. The King of Swords sharpens perception, cutting away distraction, impulses, and scattered direction. This card signals a shift towards intentional movement, seeing the landscape of your life with strategic awareness rather than raw enthusiasm alone. Fire is being asked to lead with discernment, to choose direction not based on urgency, but on truth. The High Priestess then draws fire inward, reminding you that not all exploration is external. New sights emerge through silence, listening, and subtle inner knowing. This focus is about trusting what you sense before you announce or act. Together, these cards reveal a new horizon where fire no longer needs to burn loudly to be alive. It can move with precision, mystery, and depth. The next chapter unfolds when intuition informs action and wisdom guides expansion. Love it. I'm just gonna stack all these so no one has a double reading. Next, we have earth elements. First question, where all right, first question for the earth elemental zodiac reading for the new moon in Sagittarius, the Gypsy Moon. Where have I succumbed to the temptation to just read and not experience? Spirit. Oh, there it is. The Hermit. Oh my God. The Hermit. The Hermit is the card that has to do with meditation, solitude, and consciousness. Literally, where have you succumbed to the temptation to just read and not experience? You decided that you're going to read via meditation. That's where you just decided to go sit the fuck down. And I honestly respect that energy. It is time. It's coming upon another earth element season. So I feel like for the earth element, the temptation to read rather than experience shows up as withdrawal disguised as wisdom. The Hermit reveals a deep respect for introspection, study, and self-containment, a preference for understanding life from a safe inward vantage point before stepping outward. Earth has been gathering insight, refining perspective, and seeking clarity in solitude, yet this moon exposes where reflection has quietly replaced participation. This card suggests that Earth may be over-relying on inner processing, analysis, or private preparation as a way to delay exposure, risk, or vulnerability. The Hermit is not wrong, but under the Gypsy Moon, its medicine becomes incomplete without movement. Sagittarius energy asks Earth to carry the lantern beyond the cave, to let lived experience challenge and refine what has been learned in isolation. The wisdom you've been cultivating is ready to be tested, embodied, and shared, not perfected in solitude any longer. I think that is a deep read on Earth energy, and share that. I also feel like that is heavy on the heels of Capricorn energy. It's about to be the turn to Capricorn season. Ashe in the blessings. And I just want to say, shine through. Please do, boo-boo. Love it. Next, we have the Earth elements response to the question of where do you struggle with commitment? This is definitely going to be a reflection of you and someone else. The Six of Swords is what came up. The Six of Swords. I say about you with someone else because I always feel like the commitment for an earth sign to themselves is always there, like to their garden, but it's like, do you want to share seeds and do all that? So I'm really excited. The Six of Swords is leaving and going to better. Where do you struggle with commitment? Ooh, I would say the commitment to your garden. Like you might just need a new plot, boo, and that's okay too. Let's see. For the earth element, commitment comes difficult at a point where stability requires staying on what is emotionally unresolved. The Six of Swords reveals a pattern of choosing transition over presence, not out of avoidance, but out of a desire for peace, relief, and mental quiet. Earth may commit until the emotional or psychological weight becomes too heavy, then seek calmer waters before the work is fully integrated. This card suggests that commitment is challenged when it feels like prolonged turbulence rather than grounded growth. There will be a tendency to move on once things improve slightly, rather than allowing a full resolution to root. Under the Gypsy Moon, Earth is invited to examine whether leaving is an act of wisdom or a premature exit. True commitment here asks for patience with this crossing, trusting is not all movement requires departure, and that some transitions are meant to be completed from within the journey rather than escaped. Damn. That's good. We next have for Earth sign the question about where does emotional claustrophobia exist? We got two cards. We got the Star and the Four of Swords. The Star, hope and calm, and the Four of Swords has to do with meditation. So where does emotional claustrophobia exist? I just got the visual of being like buried alive. I would say with your emotions. Don't let them junks get out of control. For the earth element, emotional claustrophobia arises not from chaos, but forced stillness without renewal. Buried alive. The star reveals a deep need for hope, spaciousness, and gentle forward vision, a reminder that Earth thrives when it can see horizon even while resting. When the sense of possibility fades, even safety can feel like suffocating. The Four of Swords shows that Earth may remain in rest long after restoration has completed its purpose. What once was healing can become stagnation when it lacks inspiration or movement. Together, these cards suggest that emotional confinement appears when recovery turns into retreat or when wait replaces dreaming. Under the Gypsy Moon, Earth is being invited to rest with intention, not resignation, to allow hope to lead you back into motion rather than mistaking stillness for permanence. That was good. And we got one more card. One more question to ask. So, the last question we have for this double deck for Earth elements to ask Spirit to support us is new focus. Oh wow, here we go. New focus and new sights. We got the Temperance card, we got the Emperor card, and we have the Eight of Swords. Big dog energy. Temperance is balance, moderation, sensible. The Emperor is structure, stability, rules, and power. And the Eight of Swords is feeling powerless. That's an interesting combo. Sorry, our message is coming through. I didn't put my stuff on Do Not Disturb, but that's okay. Again, new sights and focuses. For the earth element, new focus arrives through recalibration of power, pace, and perception. Temperance leads this message asking you to soften extremes and release the idea that balance must be earned through over-control. Spirit is guiding you towards a more fluid integration, blending logic with intuition, effort with ease, structure with trust. Your new sight is not about doing more, but about doing differently, allowing alignment to replace force. The Emperor then reclaims your relationship with authority. Not external authority, but inner leadership. Earth is being asked to define structure from the place of self-trust rather than obligation. This card highlights a season of sovereignty, setting boundaries, making decisions and commitments to foundations that truly support your growth. Yet the presence of the Eight of Swords reveals that what has been obscured this clarity, mental constraints, inherited beliefs, or narratives that told you stability must equal restriction. Spirit is showing you that the limitation is not the structure itself, but the story you've been telling what your structure cost you. Together, these cards reveal that your new sight is freedom within form, balance without self-betrayal, leadership without rigidity. Under the Gypsy Moon, Earth is invited to step out of mental confinement and into conscious design, choosing systems that support expansion rather than suppress it. The path forward is not escape, but empowered alignment. Ooh, I love that. That was good too. Put that just in a big pack. We're about to get into air would be next. So for air signs, we're going to read and ask Spirit, what has air signs succumbed to the temptation of just reading and not experiencing? So what has air signs succumbed to reading and not experiencing? Reading and not experiencing. Let's see these two cards. The Ace of Pentacles and the Chariot. The Ace of Pentacles is financial reward. And the Chariot is movement, progress, and integration. I like this. Air signs. For the air element, the temptation shows up as planning movement without grounding it into action. The Ace of Pentacles reveals very real opportunity, a tangible beginning, an embodied path, something that can be built and lived. Yet paired with the Chariot, air has been rehearsing momentum rather than committing to the road. There is vision, strategy, and mental readiness, but the experience itself remains just beyond the thresholds. This reading suggests air may be consuming information, mapping outcomes, mentally mastering the journey instead of stepping fully into the physical process. The Chariot wants direction, control, and certainty before motion begins, and so air study the terrain rather than trusting the body to learn as it moves. Under the Gypsy Moon, Spirit invites air to stop intellectualizing readiness. The opportunity is already present. The path reveals itself through experience and not before it. Okay, air signs. I love that. Next, for the air element, Spirit, let us know where struggle with commitment is. So we have the Ace of Swords, the Ten of Cups, the Ten of Wands, and the Tower. Where does air sign struggle with commitment? For the air elements, commitment becomes difficult at the moment when clarity collides with emotional expectation. The Ace of Swords shows a strong desire for truth, honesty, and mental alignment before committing. Air signs need the agreement to make sense. Yet the Ten of Cups reveals an idealized vision of emotional fulfillment, harmony, or happily ever after that can quietly raise the bar to an impossible height. The Ten of Wands expose what happens next. The weight of sustaining that ideal becomes exhausting. Commitment starts to feel like carrying everyone's happiness, managing outcomes, or holding together a vision that no longer feels light or true. Then comes the Tower, the breaking point. Rather than renegotiating expectations or adjusting the structure, air may disengage suddenly when the pressure becomes unsustainable. Under the Gypsy Moon, Spirit invites air to examine where commitment has been framed as all or nothing. This reading suggests that the struggle is not the devotion itself, but the fear that once you commit, collapse is inevitable. This lunation asks air to redefine commitment as something that evolves, a living truth that can be clarified, corrected, and reconstructed without destruction. That was good. Next, Spirit, support us with the air reading about where does emotional claustrophobia exist for air element signs? Where does emotional claustrophobia exist for air element signs? Ooh, there it is, the Queen of Swords. So where does emotional claustrophobia exist for air signs? We got the Queen of Swords. The Queen of Swords is communicative yet cold. And emotional claustrophobia lives in a space where clarity becomes confinement. The Queen of Swords reveals a mind that values independence, truth, and clean boundaries. Yet the same sharpness can create an internal atmosphere that feels emotionally airless. When feelings become complex, messy, or illogical, air may retreat into observation. Emotionally airless. When feelings become complex, messy, or illogical, air may retreat into observation rather than where emotions move through rather than tightening around it. And lastly, for our spirit-led new moon in Sagittarius, the Gypsy Moon for air elements, what are the new sights and focus for this new moon? What is that highlighting until the next new moon for the air element? The Strength card. The Strength card, courage, subtle power, and your animal self. For the air element, new sights and focus arrive through quiet, embodied courage. The Strength card reframes power, not as control, intellect, or dominance, but as the ability to remain present when feeling without retreating into the mind. This moon highlights a different kind of mastery for air, learning to stay with sensation, emotion, and vulnerability without needing to analyze or escape it. Strength asks air to soften the grip of logic just enough to allow the heart and nervous system to participate. This is not about abandoning clarity. It is about integrating gentleness with truth. Until the next new moon, air is being guided to practice patience with emotional processes, self-compassion in moments of uncertainty, and confidence that doesn't rely on mental clarity. The new sight here is that emotional endurance, tenderness, and trust are not weaknesses. They are the truest form of strength available now. That's a lovely reading. Like I was saying before, please tune into my blog that is available on my website. And we're going to get into, lastly, the water element. The water element. Oh my God, I had a brain fart. I was like, which one do we not do yet? It was water element, and that's okay. All right. So the first question we have for the water element is, where has water element succumbed to temptation to just read and not experience? Where has water element come to the Eight of Wands? The Eight of Wands has to do with speed. So where has the water element succumbed to the temptation to just read and not experience? Personally, the first thing that came up to me was avoiding riding the wave. You may wipe out. That's okay. Like your water element. It's all right. For the water element, the temptation to read rather than experience shows up as mental motion without emotional arrival. The Eight of Wands reveals speed, messages, information, and rapid energetic movement, a sense of being constantly in process without fully landing anywhere. Water has been absorbing signals, conversations, signs, and possibilities, yet postponing the moment of emotional immersion. This card suggests water may be moving too quickly between insights to actually feel them. There is curiosity, responsiveness, and openness, but also a tendency to stay in transit, letting information rush through without allowing experience to anchor in the body or heart. Under the Gypsy Moon, Spirit invites water to slow the current just enough to arrive. Wisdom for you is not found in the next message or insight, but in letting one experience move you all the way through your emotional landscape. Well, goddamn. Just because it's fire season don't mean that you get to skip your emotions, water sign. And that's all right, too. Bring them with you when you go. That's all. Next, for water sign, where does water sign struggle with commitment? Where does water sign struggle with commitment? Maybe that shit didn't want to come out. The Lovers. Where does water sign struggle with commitment? The Lovers. Sexuality, passion, choice, and writings. That coming out with Lovers. It could be relationships, connections, romance. I would just first say, like, at least with love languages, let all of your realms of love be exposed: self, platonic, and romantic. For the water element, commitment becomes challenging where choice and emotional alignment intersect. Lovers reveal that water does not struggle with devotion itself. It struggles with committing when the heart is divided. This may show up as hesitation when values, desires, or emotional truths feel split between multiple paths, people, or possibilities. This sign suggests that water seeks soulful connection and authentic resonance, and when that alignment isn't fully present, commitment feels premature or unsafe. There can be a fear of choosing incorrectly or binding the heart to something that later feels misaligned. Under the Gypsy Moon, Spirit invites water elements to recognize that commitment is less about certainty and more about conscious choice. True devotion grows where you choose from self-honesty rather than waiting for perfection or external validation. I love that. Next, for water signs, we are going to explore with cards, where does emotional claustrophobia exist? Ooh, I'm going to take this card. The Knight of Wands. The Knight of Wands is the risk taker. Where does emotional claustrophobia exist? For the water element, emotional claustrophobia shows up as restlessness when feeling intensified. The Knight of Wands reveals a reflex to move, act, or change direction when emotional energy becomes too charged or unpredictable. Water may feel confined not by the motion itself, but by the vulnerability and exposure that staying with it requires. This card suggests that when feelings begin to demand action, definition, or accountability, the instinct is to redirect, to seek excitement, novelty, or forward motion rather than emotional presence. Under the Gypsy Moon, Spirit gently points out where movement has become a way to avoid sitting with emotional truth. Freedom for water now comes from learning that intensity does not require escape. Freedom for water now comes from learning that intensity does not require escape. It can be written, expressed, and integrated without abandoning yourself. That is good. Like, my best friend is a water sign and he loves the word intense. So the fact that it's like, no, you don't have to escape from intensity. It can be integrated without abandoning you. So I will share that message because I love you, friends. Lastly, for the water signs, we have new sights in focus. Water signs had a very direct message. So one more time, the new sights in focus for the water element, the Four of Wands came out. The Four of Wands has to do with celebration. So new sights in focus, celebration is definitely on the to-do heavy. Emotional safety through conscious celebration and grounded belonging. The Four of Wands brings attention to stability that feels joyful, not restrictive, a container where emotions are welcomed, witnessed, and shared without fear of collapse or escape. This card highlights the importance of creating spaces, physical, relational, or energetic, where your feelings are not only held but honored. After cycles of restlessness, divided choices, or emotional flight, this moon invites water to anchor into what feels like home, not as permanence, but as presence. The Four of Wands asks you to notice where joy, ritual, and connection restore your nervous system and remind you that commitment does not have to equal confinement. Under this new moon, water is guided to build emotional foundations that feel celebratory rather than heavy, choosing environments, relationships, and rhythms that allow your heart to soften and stay. This is really good. I'm going to upload this on YouTube. I'm going to create a blog post, and I'm just grateful that you're here. If you have any questions, I can do some kind of reading as I separate my cards, as I made a double deck, and now I want to put them back in their boxes. So any questions in the chat, you are more than welcome to drop. Usually I don't invite this open, but here I am. So if you stay this long, tune to end, listen to me. You can ask a question if you'd like in the chat. I'll pull up a card, see what that says, yes or no. Oh, Precious, are you pregnant? The world. Don't mind this. We're gonna go with, let me just finish real quick and I'll grab the rods for these yes or no questions. I mean, this really isn't a card reading question. It's like check your calendar question, but the doula in me is tapping in like, you know what? Chakra doula was having a fertility Friday message up there. If you like, definitely tune in to the Chakra Doula on TikTok. And that is just a component that is on my YouTube, and that is the overarching TT by Tina Taylor YouTube. I didn't read a Sagittarius message, so let me just pull one of those as a close for our overall reading for the day. The Climb. The Climb is ahead. Oh, I love this one because it just reminds me of the perfect Sagittarius to Capricorn energy. The climb. There is a climb ahead of you if you want to achieve the success you deserve, and you have no intention of being stuck on the first step. You can't stand those who are afraid of heights when you're ready to take a risk. It's time to bring out all the fire of your zodiac sign. So all the fire of this energy, please keep in tune. Let that light your way as you stay close to the mountain, you goat, you greatest of all time, the greatest version of you of all time that has ever shown up in this moment. Yes. Precious, hold on one second, but we'll be right there. Okay. Share it alive. Tap the screen while I'm grabbing my what's it called? You gotta do something for me. Who's that? Thank you. All right. Ask your question again. Cross is yes. Open is no. So, are they pregnant? Is Precious pregnant? Spirit, clear the rods. We can start from cleanse. Okay. Spirit, Precious wants to know, are they pregnant? No. Babes. Sorry. Per the Spiritual Academy, Redhead Hottie, Deandra wants to know, will they win in court against Rob? Will Deandra win in court against Rob? Yes. As long as that took, though, it's given a little bit of time to get there. Just gotta say. All right, Spirit, cleanse the rods. Please clear the rods. Spirits, clear the rods. Thank you, Spirits. Darius wants to ask, Precious, is Precious pregnant? Is Precious pregnant? Babes, I want you to follow me on the Chakra Doula T. It's here. It's possible. I feel like your spirit baby wants to be with you, but it is not the time yet. And I definitely want to align with you. So let's work. I got some fertility frequency energy tuning in. So I'd love for you to check in with me. We're going to take that as a close. Ashe, have a great day.